Panther Nation, good evening and welcome to the Coach Lee Doty Show, brought to you by Benoit Ford of Farmville. You need a new ride? Take that short drive to Farmville. Let Danny Benoit and that friendly staff make that new vehicle a reality. I'm William Handy, and we're coming to you from the Frenchman's Bend Clubhouse, and we're going to talk some Panther football with Coach Lee Doty. I'd like to invite everybody to come out, check out the Frenchman's Bend restaurant. Miss Bonnie's got a great menu, some great service, and you can enjoy a good meal when you come out here. Tonight, Coach Doty and I will recap the Panthers' season finale win against the Carroll Bulldogs. We'll also reveal the first security title of Monroe Players of the Week for offense, defense, and special teams. We'll have a very special interview with two very special people who are big supporters of Panthers over the years, Mr. Ronnie Lucius and Miss Mildred Lucius. And we'll also preview the game against the Frederick A. Douglass Bobcats, and we'll also discuss the recently released 2021 3A playoff bracket. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'd like to thank Miss Bonnie and them at Frenchman's, and Danny and Monica Benoit at Benoit Ford, and special thanks to McDonald's. Miss Jennifer Thomas has been our senior spotlight sponsor for the year, and we've honored all of our seniors. All of them have been captains, and she's done a heck of a job. And Miss Jennifer, you mind standing up, because we'd like to give you a round of applause for everything you've done. So stand on up there. Thank you so much. And McDonald's has been a very good friend to the program, and like I said, she's done a great job, and we appreciate it, and look forward to having her next year.
Absolutely. That's been a great deal all season long, particularly for those seniors. Coach, just a quick question. Someone that had sent me, a fan had asked, said really on the ticket situation, with tickets being on sale at the school, or is just going to be at the stadium like it normally is? I'm assuming just going to be sales at the game.
Yeah, we'll sell tickets at the gate. I think the ticket office will open up at 6, and the price of admission this week is $10. So you can get your ticket there at the gate, and I don't think it'll be any problem this week at all.
Well, Coach, let's start out, talk about the Panthers' 50-18 home win, season finale against the Carroll Bulldogs to finish up the season play. And with that win, of course, the Panthers secured the district championship in 2-3A this year, capped off an undefeated season, and secured the overall #1 seed throughout the playoffs. And Coach, I might add that that is Sterlington's 4th district title in 5 years since moving up to 3A. And I tell you what, that's a real testament to, I'd say, you as a head coach, as well as that coaching staff and all those kids that have come through over that 5-year period of time. It's hard to string together 4 years, 5 years, win 4 district titles. And I just want to give you a hand. Everybody else, I'd say the same thing.
Well, I appreciate it, but boy, we've had some really good football players that's come through over 5 years, and just a really good young men that have played football for us. And every year, I always tell everybody, boy, it's a bunch of good football players leaving. Our coaching staff has done a fantastic job, and all credit goes to them and the players. We have a good administration, and I think we have great community support, and all those things lend itself to a successful program. So just proud to be part of it, and I think you guys should give yourself a hand, because y'all are such a big part of this. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
Well, Coach, moving into the game, just kind of a big picture from Thursday night's game. The first half was a heck of a ball game. I mean, Carroll came out and actually took an early lead, and Panthers was able to battle back, get 21-18 lead to go into the locker room at halftime. Ultimately had a big third quarter to secure the win, but I mean, Carroll just pulled out all the stops. They were playing with house money. I mean, they knew this is it. We got to do what we can to survive, and hats off to them. They did a good job, heavy passing and really not afraid to go on fourth down. So they did pretty much what they had to do. But looking at just the stats like I always do, we had 192 yards rushing, 36 carries, 4 touchdowns on the ground, and Mason was 4 of 9, 175 yards and 3 touchdowns, a total of 367 yards. Early in the game, Coach, when we were on offense, something I wanted to ask was, Carroll really had success slowing our running game down more than we used to seeing. But with Carroll, we really didn't know which team we were going to see, the one that gave up 86 points to the Vols or the one that really just went toe-to-toe with Washita. I mean, they have the players to consistently be good on defense, but what were they doing that was working early on in the game to slow us down?
Well, I mean, they were motivated to come out and play, and they were in a 5-man front, and they're big and strong guys, and just kind of got after us. Maybe shocked us a little bit, and yeah, I mean, they're a good football team, and going into it, I was expecting a battle, so we certainly got one.
Well, and how much does the ability to effectively throw the ball like we have this season allow you to take a team like Carroll and at least back them out of the box when they're stacking it like that?
Well, yeah, it did help. But we scored, and that's what I told everybody at halftime. We scored 21 points at halftime, and that's 3 touchdowns in 2 quarters. I thought we were way ahead of everything where we should be. We had some penalties that hurt us early in the game, but still, you score 21 points and going into halftime, you got to feel pretty good about it. So, but like I said, I give Carroll credit. They came off the bus and got ready to play and got after us.
Well, and something too, I know y'all see things during the first half, and y'all probably make adjustments at halftime to see where you can attack on their defense. And I mean, y'all scored 4 touchdowns in the last 2 games in third quarters. That just, y'all kind of looking and seeing what they've got, what they're giving you, and just really taking advantage of it when you come out of the second half?
Well, it sometimes it's as simple as just swapping one blocking assignment on a play, or having a fullback attack an outside shoulder as instead of an inside shoulder. So we're not in there performing, heart surgery. We're just trying to make it simple and do things as easy as we can. And we didn't do a whole lot of stuff, but we did make some adjustments, and our offense staff did a great job and came out and pounded it on them, and were able to hit them over the top on some throws, and just a great job by that side of the ball.
Well, looking at the defense, Coach, great job against the rushing game, 62 yards on 27 rushes. Of course, passing game, they had some success early in the ball game. They wound up 14-32, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns, but they did have 2 picks. And most of that happened in the first half, and it was on some big chunk plays on the 3 touchdowns. But they did have success, in that passing game. Did you expect them to be that heavy passing coming out?
Not really. I mean, when you got a Division I running back, we were prepared for the run. We knew they would throw the ball, but that guy comes out, looks like John Elway in the first half. So, he had no success prior to that throwing the football. So, he come out and he had a heck of a first half, and we were struggling getting some safety help, and we were getting beat on the outside, and the guy was putting the ball right on the money. The pass into the west end zone down there on the far side down there. I mean, we had 3 people right there, and he drops it in a bucket. So, hats off to that guy, man. He had a heck of a game. So, but we go in at halftime, and we decide if they want to abandon the run, then we're going to double cover people, and we're going to blitz, and, we're going to try to make them run the football again. And but they were bound and determined to throw it. And but I think they had 48 total yards in the second half offensively. So, guys did a good job. Coach Sims did a good job making some adjustments in the secondary, and just kind of come out and shut them down.
Well, and that kind of led into something I was going to ask you about too in that second half. You're right. I mean, the 48 yards was all that was given up in that second half, and I really thought there was 2 points I wanted to ask you about, coaches. One, I noticed that in that second half, we started seeing that defensive line and those linebackers getting in there and hitting forward. And he had a tremendous first half. You're right. I mean, he was dropping that ball where he wanted to. But you started seeing him getting a little inaccurate. You started seeing him kind of getting up slow, sort of walking slow. You could almost attribute part of it to that. But then again, I know Coach Sims made some adjustments in that second half. And I was going to ask you just your thoughts on that, and you've already kind of hit on the adjustments made. But you know, if you can get to that quarterback and keep hitting on him, eventually you should get some dividends out of that long term.
Well, we just started bringing more than they could block from one side, just overloaded it. And, you know, if they would run the ball away from the blitz right there, they would have some success probably. But they were, you know, like I said, we'd went in and said if they're going to beat us, they're going to have to run the ball. And so, you know, great job our coaches. You know, Coach Carter did a good job, Coach Pierce, and you know, Coach RJ, we made great adjustments in there. They did, and, you know, worked out for us.
Well, I wanted to ask you about something before we go to the Players of the Week. I saw something on Twitter kind of interesting. Tanner Coley had sent a text out, said, best in the game, Coach Lee Doty. And you responded to him, and it was something you said, and it really caught my attention. It said, great players and great coaches. A smart man surrounds himself with people who are smarter than him. Proud of our staff and players, 10-0, and District 2-3A champs, just getting started, go Panthers. And, you know, we talk a lot about the football team, Coach, and they've got that team-first mentality, and they really almost have a brotherhood, very unselfish. You know, we talk a lot about, you know, the defensive side of the ball. You don't have one guy that really stands out. Everybody works together as a unit. Your line has years past have always been working as a unit, very unselfish group. And so, you know, a lot of accolades to the players, which it should be. But something I did want to ask you, Coach, when you look at the staff we have, and we don't talk a whole lot about your coaching staff, but, you know, there's a lot of people that say, regardless of classification, Sterlington High School has one of the best coaching staffs in the state. And I tend to agree with that. And I really, Coach, I'd just like to get your take on the group of guys you have working with you.
Well, you know, it's a very tight-knit group. And, you know, we spent an awful lot of time together up there at the field house. And you got to be on the same team when you do that. You know, you got to have, you know, you got to surround your people with people that want the same thing as you. And, you know, our guys want to win, but our guys want to do it the right way. And, you know, there's an awful lot of work that goes into it. And sometimes we don't always agree, but we work it out. And I think the ability to disagree on things is what makes us, you know, a good staff, because there's no yes men on our staff. You know, we all have an opinion, and we all get to voice it. And then the one that's the best is what we go with. And it's just a great atmosphere up there. And, you know, the coaches, I can't tell you how hard they work. And so I'm very proud of them. And, yes, I mean, I'm very fortunate. I'll tell you, I do. As far as I'm concerned, I have the best staff in the state. So very thankful for them guys. And, you know, we've been able to stay together and hope we'll stay together for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that, Coach. I do. Well, Coach, I'll turn it over to you and let you introduce the players of the week for last week.
Well, boy, it was a hard week. Two players of the week, but you know, we had some guys that really did good. Our offensive player of the week is Brendan McNair. Brendan, you come on up. Brendan was graded out at 87%, and he did a heck of a job. He's had some really good games this year, and probably, you know, was close to being player of the week several times. But, you know, again, he's a senior and been with me for 4 years. And, you know, I tell you all the time, he's the meanest guy on the team. And so I'm very proud of him, because he keeps rolling right along, and he hadn't been ejected yet. So he's good at getting away with it, I think. But he's our offensive player of the week. Our defensive player of the week is DJ Hutchinson. Come on up, DJ. And we've very proud of DJ, man. We're extremely proud of him. He's worked very hard to get a lot of playing time his senior year. He's very coachable this year, and Coach Carter he brags on him all the time when we have coaches meetings. And he gets better every week, and he had a good night the other night. He's a guy that may not have a lot of stats, but what he's doing on the line may help our linebackers make tackles. So DJ's a heck of a player. He's a senior, and he's been with me for 4 years, so let's give him a big hand as well. And our special teams player is Jacob Green. Come on up, Jacob. There's always a guy, every time you say, well, what about special teams? Jacob's always up, he's at top. And, when you got somebody as good as Jacob, then, you're supposed to be good on special teams. I think I told you that last week. But he had a heck of a night the other night, and he's had some really good games this year. And I want to tell you, he's going to win us a ball game in the playoffs. I just have that feeling. So, these are our players of the week for the Carroll game. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you, man.
Congratulations to those guys. And when we come back, we'll have our special interview with Mr. Ronnie and Miss Mildred Lucius. We'll be back in just a moment.
I spend my nights under the stage lights, but after the applause, I'm back in my truck from my hometown dealer, Benoit Motors. The country roads of Louisiana are my soul, and Benoit Motors gets who I am and who we are. They are proud to be a dealership for the everyday American. Join me and become a member of their family. Benoit Motors, they're with you for all your life's big moments and all the miles in between.
Welcome back to the Coach Lee Doty Show, brought to you by Benoit Ford of Farmville. We welcome to the show Miss Mildred Lucius and Mr. Ronnie Lucius. We are so glad to have y'all.
Thank you.
I kind of wrote this down because I wanted to make sure I said this right. Of course, y'all are real special to the Sterlington High School family and the Sterlington community as well. But, when you think of contributions, most people think monetarily. But with you and Mr. Ronnie, y'all have gone well beyond that because y'all have given of your time, energy to support and encourage and inspire so many players, students, coaches, teachers, and parents. I probably repeated that somewhere, that have come through Sterlington High School over the years. And I just wanted everybody to know that and recognize y'all are like a staple around there. And that's why we wanted y'all to come up and talk. And you've been such a big help to all athletics, but in particular football. Y'all are just always there. And, one thing I always thought was every time I run into you, you always got a positive attitude on the field. No matter what's going on, you got to smile and you got to say, well, you better cheer up or something like that. It's always like that. So anyway, we really appreciate everything. And I want to give y'all a round of applause for everything y'all have done over the years.
Thank you.
But anyway, for those who don't know, can you tell us some of the many things y'all are involved with Sterlington High School over the years? Because I know it goes beyond football too.
Yes, it does go beyond football. I am in the school. When Coach Ashley came into the school, he asked me would I come in and do. I get withdrawals when football was over with, so I had to do something else. And I was doing basketball and then track after that. Once you start something and the coaches see that, man, you can do that, come on, you can help me. And I was willing to do that. And after about a couple of years of this, Ronnie came on because he didn't see me. So if he was going to see me anytime, he was going to have to come to Sterlington High School. So that's how we got started there. And then I do decorations around there. I have a tree. If any of you have been into the front office, you'll see there's a tree out there. And I do that. And there's also one down at the field house that I do for Coach Doty and the boys down there. They wanted to keep it. And there's some landscaping that I do outside, and I'll take care of that. Mainly it's whatever needs to be done. And this year, they did hire me. All these other years, I was a full-time volunteer, which I didn't mind. And I told Coach Thompson he could have gotten me this year for free. But anyway, they hired me as a para, so I go in the classrooms now and help out doing that. And I think I have worked in every concession, but maybe baseball and football. Football has their own.
Don't let Mark Sims hear that. He'll recruit you for that. I promise you. I promise you that. Well, you know, that was something that, I mean, what keeps y'all motivated to just keep doing that? Is it just being around these kids? I mean,
oh gosh, yes, it's got to be the kids, those boys, and
Those boys.
and the ones that
girls.
and the girls, and what is really exciting to us is when we go out and boys and girls both that have graduated years ago come up and thank you and hug your neck. They remember.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because like when you coach Little League, you know, some of them come up though when you see them like, oh, which one are you? Who are you? I mean, they get big and you know, it's probably the same way. I mean.
Oh yeah, it is. It's hard to remember the names, but I remember their faces.
Well, something I wanted to ask about, because y'all have been involved with it for so long, I'm going to make it a general question, but I do want your football one too. I wanted to know what some of your favorite memories over the years of Panther sports, but you got to put one football in there at least.
Oh my goodness, there's a lot in football, and especially in 2016. I mean, that was just everything that year was just something different because I had waited. I went to the Dome in 02 and 03 with my oldest grandson. Did not get to go back into 2016. And so that year, it was just amazing, everything we did. And I guess at the Dome, when little Noah Weatherby, when he stopped that huge running back from Madison Prep. Mm-hmm. Man, I can still see that. I did not get a picture of it, but I can still see it in my mind.
Oh, I can still hear it because he came off there. I made the tackle. I made the tackle. I remember that.
Yeah, I did it. And it just goes on. There was more before that, but it was just really, I don't know, all of that. And then my granddaughter came up her sophomore year and played softball, and she was a pitcher for our softball team. And the things I watched her get better over the years, and she had a spectacular game at Kaplan. And, well, I remember that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I'm going to ask this question now, so you got to keep it together. Now, if you don't, we're going to hand the mic over to Mr. Ronnie, and I know he loves to talk. So anyway, I did want to ask you on a personal level. You brought up your granddaughter, Katie Haynes, and, you know, she had a great softball career and an outstanding senior season. And, you know, going into the baseball season, because, I mean, you know, I'm in baseball, Luke, too. You know, everybody was really focused on the baseball team, making that run to the state championship. And but the girls just got better and better every week, and everybody knew this was a young team, young softball team. Had just I think it was Katie, maybe 2 other senior players, or maybe just
It was
one.
just 2.
Just 2. But they got better and better, and then they made that run to the playoffs and made a deep run into the playoffs. And I wanted to ask, what was it like watching that team as they got better each week and making that run? I mean, what was it like for y'all watching that and knowing that was her senior year too?
It was, you go on your highs and then you're on your lows, because when she's pitching, you're wondering, if she walks, you're down, and if she strikes somebody out, you're up, and if we win, we're up, and just, you feel for her, you feel for your child, but all the Panthers are mine, so I feel for all of them when they're out there. So, but she was just, I miss her a lot this year.
Well, but you got a big family, like you said, to lean
Yeah.
on in all those times. And I want to say this too, and I know Mr. Ronnie, I mean, you can talk loud if you want to, getting that mic, but I mean, y'all are together all the time. And I mean, it's so neat to see, because like when we come back from those long road trips and we'll pull in, I mean, a lot of times I got kind of a heavy foot, and me and Ben Hackler or Chris Sturton, we'll roll in for anybody else with all the equipment. But when we walk in that field house, y'all are there and got the table set out, those boys coming in, and I mean, you got that smile on your face. I mean, you always do, and if we don't I'm like Coach Doty, I don't like to lose, but I mean, I've seen times when we come back on a bad game or a loss like that, and y'all are still upbeat, and I mean, I think it means a lot. I know it means a lot to these kids too, and
Hope
so I just, again, is there anything else you'd like to say? Because I mean, I just had these questions, but it's open mic. I mean, would you like to say anything else?
See, our job is to pamper them, make them happy, make
Not-
them feel loved.
Yeah.
Not just the boys. We do the
Yeah, the
coaches,
coaches
we
too.
do
The coaches
the
and the-
staff at the school. We just,
It's not our job to correct them. It's not our job to get on them. It's not our job to tell them what they did wrong.
That's what that guy over there does.
That's
Yeah.
his job.
That's
It's our
tough
job-
love, and y'all, yeah, I got you.
It's
And
our
we-
job to keep them up,
yeah.
get them ready for next week.
And
right.
we try to spoil him too, so.
Well, you spoil the radio crew too, because when we come in, y'all got plenty of food, and I can't get
Yeah.
out of there and say, "You want another one?"
Yeah.
Hamburger, whatever. But we do. Y'all are so vital to everything that goes on around here, and I'm glad we're able to do this and recognize
you.
y'all, and y'all do such a wonderful job. But I'd like to give y'all another round of applause for everything y'all do. Well, I hope that wasn't too bad. So,
I got a question from my audience.
okay, what's the question?
Ms. Lucius, I know you've worked with numerous coaches over the years, but who's been your favorite coach?
Oh, you, Lee Doty.
We're gonna make sure Jason wasn't watching this.
That's right.
We'll see about that.
Oh, he's my favorite principal now.
Actually, I'm just getting a text from Jason, and he said I dispute that. But anyway, good answer. Well, when we come back, Coach Doty will join us again, and we'll talk about the upcoming game against the Frederick Douglass Bobcats. Got to remember that. And we'll look at the playoff bracket, and we'll be back in just a moment.
I spend my nights under the stage lights, but after the applause, I'm back in my truck from my hometown dealer, Benoit Motors. The country roads of Louisiana are my soul, and Benoit Motors gets who I am and who we are. They are proud to be a dealership for the everyday American. Join me and become a member of their family. Benoit Motors, they're with you for all your life's big moments and all the miles in between.
Welcome back to the Coach Lee Doty Show, brought to you by Benoit Ford of Farmville. Coach, we'll go ahead and preview the Frederick A. Douglass Bobcats game, and then like to talk a little bit about the bracket.
Okay.
But Coach, the opening round game will be this Friday night, 7 o'clock.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
Miss Lucius is very humble, and she didn't tell you nearly the things that she does for us. Miss Lucius prepares not every, but 90% of our pregame meals. She cooks them along with Mr. Ronnie and maybe one or two others. She doesn't want a lot of help. She wants to do it herself. But I'm talking about, we have anything from smothered pork chops to bacon wrapped chicken, and you know, she does all this, and then after the game, if we're at home, we always have something to eat for the kids, for the coaches. If we're on the road, I tell Miss Lucius, hey, we're going to Westlake next week. Miss Lucius will make sure we have a place to stop and eat. She orders all the food for us. She pulls a trailer down, and on the trailer she'll have a bottle of water, Powerade, and she'll make sure that after the game we have something to eat on the way back. And she goes and buys all this stuff. You know, it's not delivered, or, you know, we go buy it. She goes to Sam's and might near every day, and she buys this stuff. And Mr. Ronnie goes, and, you know, what she tells you that she does is not nearly, you know, she does the hospitality room for all of our track meets. You know, Mr. Ronnie does all the cooking for our track meets. I could just go on and on and on about the things that she does for, and especially for our football team, you know, and I really appreciate them so much. And like I said, they're being way too humble, and they talk about some of the landscaping. No, they do all the landscaping. And you know, it's just amazing. And you know, she's the Energizer Bunny, and we love her, and we love Mr. Ronnie. And again, thank y'all so much for everything you do. Thank you.
I want to say those chili cheese dogs a couple of weeks back were really good. They really were good. I should have grabbed 3 of them. But Coach, just wanted to touch a little bit on the upcoming game against Frederick A. Douglass. They're out of New Orleans. They were actually district champions of their district. But Coach, what can we expect? I know that's a team that we don't see a whole lot and didn't know much about these guys.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, they're athletic, and they run spread formations and run a 4-man front on defense. They run the ball a good bit out of it, and they've had some success. And you know, like I said, it looks like they're on a different quarterback. I think the other one got hurt in an earlier game, and they took their best receiver, I believe, and moved him to quarterback, and he's an athlete. Their running back's a good player. But they got some athletes, you know, and you know, to win a district championship, you got to be pretty good. But you know, I've talked with the coach a couple times this week, and you know, some of the things that we take for granted, you know, is not the way it is everywhere else. You know, since the hurricane, they haven't been able to get back in their building, so you know, they're going to a school that's 30 minutes away from their building. Just to have class, and then they're having to bus those kids back for practices and those type of things. And some of those kids on his team have never been out of New Orleans. You know, they've never been out of the New Orleans area. So, you know, they're excited. You know, they got a big bus, and they're going to come up and they're going to see things that some of those kids have never seen. So, you know, I'm excited for them. And, you know, it's going to be a heck of a game, I think. And I talked with our kids today about, you know, we're so fortunate. We're so fortunate with everything we have, and you know, these kids down here, they've seen an awful lot of stuff. So we're not going to feel sorry for them Friday night, you know, at 7 o'clock. But I do admire them, and I do respect them, and you know, he's kept that number up to around 35 to 40 kids on his roster, and I think you know, that's something that, you know, that's pretty daggum good. So looking forward to meeting these guys and playing and competing against them, and, you know, hopefully outcome will be on the Panthers side.
Well, Coach, if we can shift gears and talk a little bit about the bracket as it played out. And Heath made us a bracket out here. But given things turn out like they should or we hope, against Frederick Douglass, second round game is going to be interesting. You got Grant hosting Westlake. You know, Grant out of Dry Prong down in Grant Parish, and then you have Westlake, which is there just west of Lake Charles, across the bridge. You know, Coach, traditionally you think you think Westlake would have the advantage there. You know, Grant plays in, I believe, District 3A, I believe. And Coach, what's your thoughts on that game and a potential matchup against either one of those guys?
I'm not real sure. I know if Westlake wins, then we'll be traveling to Lake Charles next Friday night for the game. If Grant wins, we'll be at home. Those guys are, I will tell you this, Grant is probably the most improved program that I know of over the past 3 or 4 years. When I was at St. Mary's, we always tried to play them. But the fact that those guys are 8-2 this year is really amazing. And I know they're not playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they're playing the same people they used to play when they were 1-9. So the new coach down there has been there. I think this may be his 3rd year. He's done a heck of a job. The coach at Westlake was the head coach at Welch for several years. He won a state title down there. So, 2 good programs, and one on the rise and one that's a traditional power. So either way, we're going to have our hands full.
And, looking down that bracket, Coach, and I think you'd agree, we actually got on the probably the bad side of the bracket, if you want to call that, the team.
We definitely got on the challenging side.
We got on the heavy side of the bracket, I would say. And, looking a little bit further down, you've got a potential matchup between Madison Prep, which, of course, we played them in 2016, but they're defending state champions, knocked out Union 50-0 last year. Of course, St. James is who we went and faced in last year as well. That ought to be a pretty good matchup. I think St. James is a little bit down from where they were last year, possibly, but still, you got some great athletes that come out of that group down there, and a good coaching staff there as well. But I'll tell you what, Coach, that ought to be a heck of a ball game just looking down the bracket.
Well, that's the if that happens, that's a game between the past 2 state champions. Madison Prep 2020 and St. James 2019. So. Tough sledding right there.
Well, and going down, of course, I'm just kind of looking at the higher seeds. There could easily be an upset. We see it every year. But the ones that really stick out to me, obviously, is Church Point. And folks probably remember back in 2018, we had that big shootout with those guys, 56-55 in triple overtime, I believe. And then, of course, Iowa. You don't always see them this high in the bracket, but my understanding in conversations with you too, they've got some good athletes on that team. I tell you what, Church Point or Iowa is going to present a challenge to anybody that runs across those guys.
I agree wholeheartedly. It's going to be, like I said, that's a tough bracket right there.
Yeah, that upper side is a tough bracket, and the thing, looking down on that bottom end, Coach, of course, you're going to have number 2 Abbeville and number 3 St. Martinville, not necessarily traditional powers, which is kind of, this first time I think I really have seen those guys in the top 5. And then you got number 6 Lutcher and Union at number 7. And then you go on down to number 10 will be Gina. But just local flavor, I want to say Weissman came in at the highest seed after Union. They're 18. They'll travel to Erath. And then Carroll, they drew a tough Lutcher team, number 6. A lot of people like Lutcher moving forward along with Bruley. And then, of course, Richwood gets the trip down to Abbeville at the 31 seed. But I tell you what, Coach, in that, just looking at it, it seems like, Union's got they've got a favorable path to the quarters at least. Gina may give them a fit, but I don't know, Coach. What's your thoughts about that bottom side of the bracket? Again, Lutcher Lutcher kind of stands out too. And I'm not taking anything away from Abbeville or St. Martinville by any means, but
Well, I mean,
it's a wide open. That's a
yeah.
wide open.
We really don't know a whole lot about those teams down there, but I can tell you this, Lutcher better be buckled up when they play Carroll. And it wouldn't surprise me if Carroll gives them all they want. And I fully expect, since you're asking me to make a prediction here, I think, Bruley will come out of that part of their bracket. I think they're pretty good. So they're physical, and I think they're going to be tough to deal with right there. So, but anyway, it's a tough bracket. But you know what? You want to be challenged. It should keep our kids focused. And you know, if you win this thing, if you get there from the top half of the bracket, then you've earned it. So you know, nothing easy, nothing great comes easy, and our kids, they know. I mean, they can see and they know what we got to do. So we'll be fired up and ready to do it.
I think that's a great point you make, Coach. Is, you know, sometimes if you got a challenge in front of you, you're more focused and you're more intent on what you got to do and how you got to do it and how you got to execute it. If you look at a schedule and you see an upset down the line and it's somebody that you say, well, I'll just go in there. I don't know that you're quite focused. One thing I'll say, and you talked about your coaching staff, but I want to say this, as far as game preparation, Coach, I'm not in the inner circle and know how y'all do it, but it seems like game in and game out, y'all have these kids ready to play and very prepared. And very rare do you see somebody just completely blown out in coverage or whatever. I mean, if it's something, it's almost like it's full blast. If you make a mistake, you better be making it full speed. But my hat's off to you guys to get these kids focused like you do.
Well, we're going to have to keep doing that, and we're going to have to do a good job of preparing, and our kids are going to have to do a good job of preparing. So, like I said, we got a tough road ahead, and but like, hey, man, we're going to go out there swinging and see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, do you have any closing comments?
Well, like I said, we'll play this Friday night, and at Panther Stadium, game time 7 o'clock. Tickets will be sold at the gate. And hope everybody comes out. You know, we need a big crowd. We need some support. It's supposed to be a beautiful football night. So come out and support these young men as they begin this journey. And as always, go Panthers.
Absolutely, and I'll reiterate what Coach said. We need everybody out there. We want everybody back behind these Panthers. It's been a special season, and we want to keep that thing rolling, and we plan on being back here again next week.
I spend my nights under the stage lights, but after the applause, I'm back in my truck from my hometown dealer, Benoit Motors. The country roads of Louisiana are my soul, and Benoit Motors gets who I am and who we are. They are proud to be a dealership for the everyday American. Join me and become a member of their family. Benoit Motors. They're with you for all your life's big moments and all the miles in between.